Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive today.
It's good to be here.
We're going to be jumping into the world of lawmaking in India.
Focusing on the role of the parliament.
It's a fascinating topic and one that,
I think might surprise some people.
in terms of just how much influence.
Citizens actually have.
Yeah, we'll get into some real-world examples later on.
They really bring this to life.
But first,
I think it's important to kind of set the stage.
yeah, take us back a little bit.
When we think about India's independence in 1947,
Huge moment.
it was a monumental shift,
Leaving away from colonial rule,
to a system that was designed for,
citizen participation.
for the people to have a voice.
It's a stark contrast, right?
Going from decisions being imposed upon you to actually having a say in shaping your own future.
Absolutely, and that raises an important question.
Doesn't it?
What does that phrase, power of the people,
Yeah.
actually look like in a democracy?
How does that translate into real, tangible
Actions.
mechanisms? Absolutely. So one of the most concrete expressions of that power
Okay.
is the idea of universal adult franchise.
Okay.
And this means that every adult citizen,
Every adult citizen,
regardless of background,
social standing,
any of that gets to vote.
it's that fundamental
It's the very foundation of representation.
in Indian democracy.
Exactly. And it's not just about ticking a box.
On election day,
There are so many ways for citizens to engage
with their government,
and influence the lawmaking process.
so we have the people
We have their power.
to vote.
What about Parliament?
Where does Parliament fit into all of this?
Is it just a building where laws are made?
Or is there more to it?
There's definitely more to it.
Hi.
Think of Parliament as the place where the rubber meets the road
I like that.
in terms of translating the will of the people
Okay.
into actual laws.
So it's not just a symbolic space.
Not at all.
It's where things actually happen.
It's where the action is,
I'm picturing a grand stage.
where the drama of lawmaking unfolds.
I like that.
But it's not a one-man show.
Okay.
The Indian Parliament is divided into two houses,
Two houses. Okay.
the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha,
So it's more like a two-act play.
each with their own distinct roles and responsibilities.
So can we break down
Absolutely.
what each house does?
The Lok Sabha, which means House of the People,
House of the People.
is the more directly representative body.
Directly representative meaning.
Its members are directly elected by citizens
Okay.
from all across India,
So this is where the majority party
Yes.
forms the government.
or a coalition of parties if no single party wins a majority.
Right. So think back to the 2019 Lok Sabha elections.
Yes.
Those results determined
Who would lead the country?
for the next 5 years.
Huge implications.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
It is.
But what about the Rajya Sabha then?
The Rajya Sabha, or Council of States,
Okay.
provides a crucial counterbalance.
Okay, so a counterbalance to the Lok Sabha.
Exactly. It represents the interests of the states.
So not just the people, but the states themselves.
Precisely. And it ensures that laws are examined from a broader perspective
So it's not just through the lens.
of the ruling party.
So it's like a check on the power of the Lok Sabha,
Absolutely.
making sure that laws are well considered.
And don't just benefit one party or one region.
Right, so it's about balance.
It's about balance and careful consideration
So the Rajya Sabha scrutinizes the bills.
that are passed by the Lok Sabha.
They propose amendments
And they ensure that the laws align with the overall interests.
of the nation as a whole.
Yes.
This is fascinating.
It's a complex system.
It seems like the parliament's much more than just a place where laws are made.
It really is.
It's a dynamic space.
With different interests
Perspectives.
coming together.
So we often think of parliament just in terms of lawmaking,
Right, making the laws.
but it actually has several other vital functions.
Absolutely. One of the most crucial is selecting the national government.
Okay, so walk me through this.
How does the parliament select the government?
I'm picturing backroom deals,
Well, there's some of that.
political maneuvering.
There's always some political maneuvering.
They're fundamentally,
It's the Lok Sabha,
Okay.
with its directly elected representatives, that determines which party or coalition of parties will form the government.
okay.
The leader of the party with the majority of seats in the Lok Sabha becomes the prime minister,
So it's a direct reflection of the people's will.
expressed through their votes.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a very direct link between the people and the government.
But parliament's job doesn't just stop there.
Not at all.
They don't just pick the government.
And then sit back and relax.
No, they have to keep things running smoothly.
Exactly. Parliament also plays a critical role in controlling, guiding, and informing the government.
Okay, so controlling, guiding, informing.
It acts as a watchdog, ensuring that the government is accountable to the people.
So it's a constant back and forth,
A dialogue between the parliament and the government.
making sure things are on track.
Exactly. And there are various mechanisms built into the system.
To facilitate the
Ongoing dialogue.
what?
One of the most fascinating
Okay.
is something called question hour.
Question hour. Now that sounds interesting.
It is.
Tell me more.
Imagine you have the power to directly question the people running the country,
Okay.
to hold them accountable.
For their actions and decisions.
That's essentially what question hour is all about,
So it's like a live Q&A.
with those in charge.
Wow. That's a pretty powerful tool.
For accountability.
Yeah, it keeps the government transparent.
And responsive to the people's concerns.
This is all so fascinating.
It's a complex system.
But it's really interesting to see how it all works together.
And it's designed to be a system.
That reflects the will of the people.
As much as possible.
Right. It's all about that balance of power.
And ensuring that the people have a voice.
And that their concerns are heard.
Exactly.
So we've seen how the parliament is structured.
How it selects the government.
And how it holds the government accountable.
All crucial functions.
Now I'm kind of curious
About what?
about the nuts and bolts. How a law actually comes to life.
The journey of a law.
Yeah, where does that journey begin?
It's like planting a seed
Okay,
that eventually grows into a mighty tree.
I like that analogy.
So the seed, in this case, often a real-life issue that needs to be addressed.
Something that needs a solution.
Exactly.
Okay, let's take an example.
A real-world example.
The Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act of 2005,
Okay, good one.
addressing a very serious issue.
Absolutely.
So what was the catalyst for this law
It all started with women bravely sharing their experiences.
of domestic violence
Seeking help.
and a way to stop the abuse?
Right, their stories, their struggles.
Became the impetus for change.
Exactly.
So it's powerful to see how real-life experience
The voices of those affected.
can spark.
The journey towards creating a law.
So we have these stories.
These powerful voices.
And then
women's organizations, legal experts,
step in
to advocate for a dedicated law.
to address this pervasive issue.
Exactly.
So they meticulously drafted a bill.
A proposal for this new law.
So we have the draft bill.
A potential solution.
Does it just go straight to a vote?
Not quite.
Okay.
It has to go through a rigorous process
Okay.
of scrutiny and refinement.
To make sure it's the best it can be.
Absolutely.
So it's officially introduced in Parliament.
Either in the Lok Sabha or the
Yeah.
Rajya Sabha.
Either one.
And then it's referred to a standing committee.
Okay, standing committee.
What is that?
Yeah, break that down for me.
Think of it like a specialized team
Okay.
of experts
Yeah.
who examine the bill in detail.
So they're really going through it with a fine-tooth comb,
Exactly. They're considering its implications,
gathering feedback.
making sure it's robust and effective.
So it's not just a quick glance.
No, it's a thorough examination.
They can propose amendments.
They can invite experts to testify.
Wow, so they're really making sure.
That this law is comprehensive
And addresses all the concerns.
of various groups.
So it's a collaborative process.
It is.
Different groups,
Put your
individual
rules this
to
time.
this law.
Exactly.
So what happens after the standing committee has done its work?
The bill, along with any recommended amendments,
Okay.
is presented back to the House where it was originally introduced.
Okay.
And that's when the real debate begins.
The main event.
The parliamentary showdown.
I'm picturing heated discussions,
Oh, absolutely.
impassioned speeches,
It can get quite dramatic.
and a few, maybe dramatic moments.
It's all part of the process.
For MPs from different parties.
Have the opportunity to voice their opinions, raise concerns, propose further amendments.
So it's a genuine debate
A battle of ideas
where the law is shaped.
through this democratic deliberation.
What happens if there are disagreements?
Disagreements are bound to arise.
Yeah, that's the nature of politics.
Exactly. But ultimately, the fate of the bill is decided by a vote.
Okay, so majority rules.
If it receives a majority vote in the House where it was introduced,
It moves on
to the other House
for a similar process.
of scrutiny, debate, and voting.
So both houses have to agree.
For the bill to move forward,
It's a thorough system
it ensures that a law has broad support.
before it becomes official.
It's a crucial check and balance.
Okay, so we've got the Lok Sabha.
The Rajya Sabha,
Both have to agree.
and then it reaches the final stage,
What's that?
presidential assent.
Presidential assent.
The President of India reviews the bill,
Okay.
and if they deem it fit,
Okay.
they give their assent.
So the president has the final say.
It's the final stamp of approval
Okay.
that brings the law into effect.
Like the culmination of a long journey
It is
when a bill transforms into a law
ready to shape the lives of citizens.
and impacts society.
Exactly.
This journey of a law is really quite fascinating.
It is a testament to the collaborative spirit of democracy.
Starting from a seed of an idea,
To a fully grown tree.
it's really incredible to see how it all comes together.
And it involves so many different people.
From citizens raising their voices,
Activists advocating for change.
experts drafting the bills,
Parliamentarians debating.
and refining the laws.
And ultimately the president giving their final seal of approval.
It's an intricate process.
But it's designed to be as inclusive and representative as possible.
Because ultimately,
The laws of a nation should reflect the will of the people.
and be a tool for creating a more just and equitable society.
Absolutely.
And that's a goal worth striving for.
It is.
But before we move on, I'm curious
About what?
about those instances where law
Even after going through this meticulous process,
face opposition or even spark controversy.
that's a crucial question.
How do we navigate those situations?
In a democracy where people have the right to dissent and disagree.
Because those voices are important too.
Absolutely.
So it's about recognizing that the conversation doesn't end.
With the enactment of a law
There's always room for review adjustments, course correction,
based on real-world experiences.
and the voices of those affected.
Exactly. A healthy democracy encourages dialogue debate.
Even disagreement.
It's through these processes that we can refine laws, make them more just.
And ensure they truly serve the interests of all citizens.
That's the goal.
This is incredibly insightful.
We've covered a lot of ground.
The structure of Parliament,
The functions it performs.
the journey of a bill becoming a law,
But what about the people who make up this system?
the individuals who hold the reins of power.
The players in this grand game of lawmaking.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
At the heart of the Indian Parliament, the members of Parliament, the MPs,
The MPs.
the elected representatives of the people,
Okay.
entrusted with the responsibility of voicing their concerns
Advocating for their interests.
and participating in the lawmaking process,
So they're like the actors on this parliamentary stage,
playing different roles
but all contributing to the overall drama.
of governance.
That's a great analogy.
They come from diverse backgrounds.
Representing a wide range of professions, social groups, regions of the country.
This diversity is reflected in the Lok Sabha,
Okay.
where each member represents a specific constituency, a slice of the Indian populace.
So the parliament, in a way, is a microcosm of India itself.
Absolutely, a space where different voices and perspectives converge.
That's fascinating.
And the process of choosing these representatives
of selecting these actors.
for this parliamentary stage
Yeah.
is through elections held every 5 years,
It's a grand exercise in democracy.
with political parties vying for the people's mandate.
Speaking of political parties,
Yes,
India has a pretty diverse political landscape.
it is incredibly vibrant.
It's not just a two-party system.
No, we have a multitude of national and regional parties,
Each with
their own ideology.
a support base.
So we have national parties with widespread influence.
Advocating for policies that impact the entire nation.
And then we also have
The regional parties
deeply rooted in specific states or regions
championing the interests.
of their local constituencies.
So it's a balancing act
It is a constant negotiation
between national priorities.
and regional interests.
How do all these different parties manage to work together?
Well, that's a great question.
Do they even work together?
The answer is it's complicated.
I bet.
Sometimes they cooperate, forming alliances or coalitions,
To achieve common goals.
especially when it comes to forming a government.
Right.
But there are also times when they clash, debating fiercely,
Yeah.
opposing each other's policies.
Those parliamentary debates can get pretty heated.
Oh, absolutely. It's all part of the cut and thrust of democratic politics.
So it's a lively space.
It is.
But regardless of their differences.
All MPs have a shared responsibility, uphold the Constitution,
Okay.
to serve the interests of their constituents,
Right.
to contribute to the betterment of the nation.
So they all have that common purpose
That shared goal.
of working towards a better future for India. And it's through this dynamic interplay,
Of different parties,
diverse viewpoints,
and passionate debates.
that laws are forged
Policies are shaped.
and the nation's destiny is charted.
It's a fascinating process to observe.
It really is.
And it's a testament to the dynamism
And resilience,
of Indian democracy.
where this legislative process is a microcosm of the nation's
Vibrant
ever-evolving.
political landscape.
But let's not lose sight
Of what?
of the fundamental purpose of lawmaking,
Right.
to address the needs of the people,
To uphold justice.
and to ensure a more just and equitable society.
Absolutely.
So laws are not just abstract concepts.
Or to technical documents.
They have real-world implications
They impact the lives of citizens.
in profound ways.
And that's why it's so important
to ensure
that the legislative process is grounded in the realities,
of people's lives,
that it's responsive to their needs,
and that it serves as a tool
for positive social change.
exactly
And that's where the role of citizens
of we the people.
becomes so crucial.
Right.
We have a responsibility to engage with this process,
To hold our elected representatives accountable,
to voice our concerns.
to advocate for laws that reflect our values and aspirations.
Exactly.
It's not just about casting a vote every 5 years.
It's about actively participating
In this ongoing dialogue,
of democracy
shaping the laws
that govern us.
and ensuring they serve the common good.
That's what makes democracy so powerful.
Its ability to harness that collective wisdom,
And the energy of the people.
to create a more just,
An equitable world.
that's a powerful reminder of the role we all play.
In shaping the destiny of our nation.
But as we move toward the conclusion of this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's shift our focus to a crucial element
What's that?
that underpins this entire system,
Okay.
the Constitution of India,
The bedrock of Indian democracy.
the supreme law of the land,
The framework for governance.
outlining the fundamental rights and duties of citizens
And establishing the institutions.
that shape the nation,
The rule book.
the blueprint for this grand game of governance.
The great analogy.
The Indian Constitution's a remarkable document
A testament to the vision
and wisdom.
of the nation's founding fathers.
It's a complex document
Comprehensive.
covering a wide range of topics.
From the structure of government to the fundamental rights of citizens.
It sounds like a monumental achievement,
It was.
laying the foundation for Indian democracy.
Absolutely.
So one of the key aspects,
Mm-hmm.
its emphasis on fundamental rights,
Those inalienable rights.
considered essential for individual dignity and freedom.
Absolutely.
So these are rights that every citizen is entitled to.
Regardless of background or social standing.
What are some examples of these fundamental rights?
So the Constitution guarantees a wide range,
Okay.
including the right to equality,
Okay.
the right to freedom of speech and expression,
Freedom of religion.
the right to life and personal liberty.
These rights protect citizens from arbitrary state action
They ensure equality before the law
and guarantee the freedoms that are essential.
for a democratic society
So it's like a shield that protects individuals.
from the potential excesses of government power.
Exactly.
These fundamental rights are not just abstract concepts.
They have real implications.
In the lives of citizens,
They shape the relationship between individuals and the state.
ensuring everyone is treated.
With dignity and respect.
It's a powerful reminder that the
It's
Constitution,
not just a legal document
but a living, breathing entity.
that impacts the lives of citizens.
Absolutely.
One of the most important features.
Is its commitment to the principle of judicial review.
Now remind me, what is judicial review again?
It means that the courts have the power to review laws
Enacted by the Parliament
and to strike down those deemed to be in violation.
of the Constitution.
Exactly.
So it's like a safety valve.
To ensure that the laws enacted by Parliament,
Don't overstep the boundaries.
set by the Constitution
Judicial review is a cornerstone.
of Indian democracy,
It ensures that Parliament's power
is not absolute.
and the Constitution remains supreme.
The supreme law of the land,
It's a fascinating interplay of powers,
designed to ensure that no one branch becomes too powerful.
and that the rights of citizens are safeguarded.
Exactly.
So the Indian Constitution, with its emphasis on these fundamental rights
Judicial review
and a balance of powers
creates a framework for a just.
and equitable society.
It's a remarkable achievement.
But the Constitution is not static, right?
No, it's not.
It evolves with society's changing needs and aspirations.
It has been amended over 100 times.
Since its adoption in 1950,
It's adapted and refined
to meet the challenges.
of a changing world.
So it's a dynamic
It's
document,
capable of adapting to the changing times.
but remaining true to its core principles.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating how a document created decades ago
Can still be relevant.
and responsive to the needs of modern India,
It's a testament to the foresight of those founding fathers.
who created a framework that was both strong,
And flexible.
capable of evolving,
With the nation's growth,
and development.
it's a remarkable achievement.
But before we wrap up this section,
Okay.
I want to touch upon something we discussed earlier.
What's that?
Dissent and unpopular laws.
A crucial topic
It's one thing to have a constitution
that guarantees rights.
and a system of checks and balances.
But what happens when laws face opposition?
From the people they're meant to govern.
Even if those laws are legally valid,
Yeah.
that's a question that gets to the heart of democracy.
Okay.
Dissent
That freedom to disagree
is essential.
for a healthy democracy.
It allows for different perspectives, flaws in laws to be exposed, adjustments to be made.
To ensure greater fairness and justice.
Exactly.
So it's not about blindly accepting everything the government does.
It's about engaging in critical dialogue.
Holding those in power accountable.
Dissent acts as a check on power,
A safeguard against tyranny.
a catalyst for positive change.
And in India,
Citizens have many ways to express their dissent.
peaceful protests, engaging with the media.
Lobbying their elected representatives
So there are many ways for citizens
to make their voices heard
to challenge the status quo.
and to demand change.
Absolutely.
And in cases where citizens believe a law is unjust
Okay.
or violates their fundamental rights,
They have options.
they can approach the judiciary, seek redress through the courts,
So the judiciary acts as a guardian of rights.
ensuring that the laws align with the principles of the Constitution.
Exactly.
The Indian Constitution guarantees the right to constitutional remedies.
Empowering citizens to approach the courts.
If they believe their fundamental rights have been violated,
That's powerful.
it is.
We the people have the power to shape our own destiny
To challenge injustice.
and to demand a more just
An equitable society.
Ooh,
Throughout India's history, we've seen countless examples.
of citizens exercising their right to dissent,
Challenging unjust laws.
demanding accountability,
These acts of courage and conviction
and shape the nation.
that we live in today.
So it's really inspiring to think about the power of collective action
The unwavering spirit of those who dare to speak truth to power.
and fight for a better future.
Absolutely.
But as we move toward the conclusion of our exploration,
Right.
let's delve into a specific example, an unpopular law in India,
Okay.
and the complexities it presented.
Right.
The Armed Forces Special Powers Act of 1958.
Often referred to as AFSPA,
Mm.
a law that has sparked intense debate and controversy,
For decades.
particularly in certain regions of the country,
So this law was enacted
to address insurgency and separatist movements,
in certain parts of India,
granting special powers to the armed forces.
operating in those areas.
Exactly.
I can see how a law like that
Intended to address security concerns.
could also raise concerns about potential human rights violations.
And the balance of power.
Right.
It's a complex issue.
Absolutely.
AFSPA has been criticized for granting excessive powers to the military
Leading to concerns about impunity.
and a lack of accountability for human rights abuses.
So it's a law that presents a complex dilemma,
It does.
balancing the need for security,
With the protection of human rights.
a challenge that many democracies grapple with.
Absolutely.
So the debate surrounding AFSPA,
Highlights the complexities of governance.
in a diverse and often volatile world,
It underscores the importance of constant dialogue review
and a willingness to adapt laws
to changing circumstances.
while upholding the principles of justice and accountability,
Exactly.
because the law must always be a tool,
For peace and justice.
not a weapon of oppression.
Or a shield for impunity.
Right.
We must constantly strive to ensure that the law serves its true purpose,
To protect the rights of all
to uphold justice,
and to create a world.
where everyone can thrive.
Absolutely.
It's an ongoing effort
It is.
to ensure that the law is used
For good.
and not for ill.
And that's something that requires.
The participation of all citizens
Right.
to hold those in power accountable.
And to demand justice.
And fairness for all.
And on that note,
We'll continue our exploration of this topic in our next part,
yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today.
but there's still much more to discuss.
So we'll see you next time
For part 2 of our deep dive
into lawmaking in India.
and the power of the people.
It's been a fascinating journey so far.
And it's only going to get more interesting.
Next time.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
And it's a great example of how the judiciary doesn't just strike down laws.
Right.
It interprets them, clarifies their meaning, and ensures that they're applied fairly.
Yeah, like providing the user manual for the legal system
Exactly. And that's especially important,
in a diverse and complex society like India.
where a single law might be applied to vastly different situations.
Right. So we've talked about the roles of Parliament and the judiciary in this lawmaking ecosystem.
Uh-huh.
Where do we as citizens fit in?
Oh, citizen engagement is vital
Yeah.
to a healthy democracy.
I think it's easy to feel like our individual voices don't really matter.
Oh, they absolutely do. It's about recognizing that we're not just passive recipients of laws,
Right.
but active participants in their creation and evolution.
Taking ownership of the laws that govern us.
Exactly, rather than just letting things happen.
So what are some ways that we can actually make our voices heard?
There are so many avenues for engagement.
Okay.
Citizens can participate in public consultations when new laws are being drafted,
Oh.
offering their perspectives and concerns.
That makes sense.
They can write to their elected representatives.
Expressing their views on specific issues or proposed legislation.
So utilizing the channels that already exist.
To communicate directly with those in power.
Exactly, and don't underestimate the power of the media.
Right.
Engaging with the media, writing letters to editors, participating in discussions, even just sharing informed opinions online can help shape public discourse and influence the direction of policy.
So using all the tools at our disposal to amplify our message.
Absolutely.
But what about those instances where we feel like the system isn't listening or that our concerns are being ignored?
That's when collective action becomes crucial.
Okay.
Joining advocacy groups, participating in peaceful protests, or even filing public interest litigations in courts can be effective ways to bring attention to issues and demand change.
So finding strength in numbers.
Uniting with others who share your concerns.
Making your collective voice impossible to ignore.
Exactly. There's a remarkable example of this in India's history.
Okay.
The Right to Information Act, or RTI, enacted in 2005.
RTI. Right.
This landmark legislation wouldn't exist without years of relentless campaigning by activists, civil society organizations, and ordinary citizens.
So what was it about the RTI that made it such a significant achievement?
The RTI empowers citizens to access information held by public authorities.
Okay.
You have the right to request information about government projects, expenditures, policies, even the reasoning behind specific decisions.
Wow, that's a powerful tool for transparency.
Again, accountability.
Yeah, it helps to expose corruption, hold officials accountable, and ensure that government decisions are made in the public interest.
It's a testament to the power of persistent citizen engagement.
It's a reminder that we, the people, have a say in how our country is run.
Absolutely.
And that even seemingly insurmountable obstacles can be overcome through collective action.
It's inspiring.
It is.
And while the RTI is a powerful tool for holding the government accountable,
Yeah.
there are also mechanisms within Parliament itself
Okay.
designed to keep the government in check.
Like,
Remember Question Hour?
oh yeah, the live Q&A session with government ministers.
Exactly.
That seems like a pretty direct way for Parliament to keep the government on its toes.
It is. MPs can use Question Hour to demand explanations for government actions, expose shortcomings in policies, and bring issues of public concern to the forefront.
So it's like a public forum where the government is held accountable for its actions and decisions.
Exactly, and it's just one of many ways in which Parliament works to ensure that the government is responsive to the needs and concerns of the people.
This is all so fascinating. It's making me realize just how intricate and dynamic the system of governance in India truly is.
It is a complex system, but it's designed to work for the people.
We've explored the roles of Parliament, the
Yeah.
judiciary, and citizens in this intricate dance of lawmaking.
Uh-huh.
But let's shift our focus now to a specific instance where this system was put to the test,
Okay.
the enactment of the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act.
That's a great example to delve into.
As we mentioned earlier, this law arose from the very real experiences of women facing domestic violence.
Right.
But it's also a testament to the responsiveness of the Indian legal system to the needs of its citizens.
It shows how the system can work to protect the vulnerable.
So how did this law come into being?
Walk us through that journey. The journey began with countless women bravely sharing their stories.
Raising their voices against a deeply ingrained social problem.
They sought not just sympathy, but solutions, a way to break free from the cycle of abuse.
It must have taken immense courage for these women to come forward and speak out against such a sensitive issue.
It did, and their voices were amplified by women's organizations, activists, and legal experts who recognized the need for a dedicated law to address domestic violence.
So, from personal stories to a potential solution, a draft bill marking the beginning of a determined fight for change. What happened next?
Did it sail through Parliament smoothly?
I have a feeling it didn't.
You're right, not quite. While there was widespread recognition of the need for such a law, the journey wasn't without its challenges.
Because lawmaking is a complex process.
It involves multiple stakeholders, diverse viewpoints, and often intense debate.
So it's not just about drafting a bill.
It's about navigating the intricacies of the parliamentary system, building consensus, and addressing concerns from different quarters.
Right, so the draft bill, after being officially introduced in Parliament, was referred to a standing committee.
as is the case with most bills.
And this committee, composed of MPs from various parties, played a crucial role in examining the bill in detail.
Absolutely.
So it's like a team of specialists carefully scrutinizing the bill, making sure it's robust, comprehensive, and addresses the intended purpose effectively.
That's a great way to put it. The Standing Committee's review is a crucial stage, ensuring that the law is well drafted, considers different perspectives, and has a strong legal foundation.
They invite experts,
Gather public opinion.
scrutinize every aspect of the bill, ensuring its effectiveness and fairness.
It's a meticulous process.
This meticulous process ensures that the law is not just passed hastily, but is thoroughly examined and refined before being presented back to Parliament.
Exactly.
So after the Standing Committee's review, the bill, along with any recommended amendments, goes back to the House where it was originally introduced.
Right.
And then the real debate begins.
The MPs get their chance to weigh in, voice their opinions, and try to shape the final form of the law.
I can imagine those debates can get pretty intense, especially with a law as significant as this one.
They do, and that's a good thing. It means that the law is being scrutinized from different angles, that diverse viewpoints are being considered, and that the final product is the result of careful deliberation and democratic consensus.
So even though it might seem messy or chaotic at times, this process of debate and negotiation is crucial for ensuring that the law is well crafted and reflects the will of the people.
Absolutely, and remember, this process doesn't happen in isolation. There's often a parallel track of public discourse happening outside the halls of Parliament.
You mean through the media, public forums, and citizen activism?
Exactly. These external forces also influence the shape of the law. The Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act, in particular, benefited from the strong advocacy of women's groups who played a crucial role in raising awareness and putting pressure on the government to enact a strong and effective law.
So it's a reminder that the lawmaking process is not confined to the walls of Parliament. It's influenced by public opinion, media scrutiny, and the tireless efforts of individuals and organizations who are passionate about creating a more just and equitable society.
Absolutely. And ultimately, after going through this rigorous process of scrutiny, debate, and revision, the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act was passed by both houses of Parliament.
That must have been a momentous occasion, a testament to the power of collective action and the responsiveness of the Indian legal system to the needs of its citizens.
It was, but the journey didn't end there. The final step was presidential assent, the stamp of approval from the President of India, which brought the law into effect.
It's like the culmination of a long and arduous journey, the moment when a bill transforms into a law ready to shape the lives of citizens and impact society.
Precisely. And in this case, the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 marked a significant step forward in addressing a pervasive social issue and providing legal protection to those who needed it most.
This entire journey, from the initial stories of women facing abuse to the enactment of a landmark law, is incredibly inspiring. It shows how a democracy can respond to the needs of its people and how, through collective action and a belief in the power of the law, positive change can be achieved.
It's a powerful reminder that the law is not a static entity, but a living, breathing instrument that evolves with society's changing needs and aspirations. And we as citizens have a crucial role to play in shaping its evolution, ensuring that it reflects our values and serves as a tool for creating a more just and equitable world.
Beautifully said. But as we delve deeper into this exploration of lawmaking, let's shift our focus to another fascinating aspect of the Indian Parliament: its composition and the diverse range of political parties that shape the legislative landscape.
India's political landscape is indeed a vibrant tapestry, reflecting the vastness and complexity of the nation itself. The parliament comprises members representing a multitude of political parties, each with its own ideology, priorities, and support base.
It's like a microcosm of India, a melting pot of diverse viewpoints and aspirations.
Exactly. We have national parties with a pan-Indian presence, advocating for policies that impact the entire nation alongside them. We have regional parties deeply rooted in specific states or regions, championing the interests and concerns of their local constituencies.
So it's a delicate balance between national priorities and regional interests, a constant negotiation between the needs of the whole and the aspirations of the parts.
That's the essence of a federal system like India's. And within this diverse mix, we have coalitions forming alliances forged between political parties to achieve common goals, often to secure a majority in the Lok Sabha and form the government.
So it's a dynamic and ever-evolving political landscape with parties forming alliances, breaking away, and realigning based on shifting political dynamics and strategic considerations.
Precisely. It's a fascinating game of political chess, with each move influencing the shape of policies the direction of governance, and ultimately the destiny of the nation. But let's not lose sight of the individuals at the heart of this intricate dance, the members of parliament, the MPs.
The MPs, the people who represent us?
Yes, they are the ones who bring the voices of the people into the halls of parliament.
It's a question that brings us back to the human element of this grand system. The individuals who represent the hopes, aspirations, and concerns of millions of citizens.
MPs are elected representatives chosen by the people to voice their concerns, advocate for their interests, and participate in the lawmaking process. They come from diverse backgrounds, representing a wide range of professions, social groups, and regions of the country.
So it's a microcosm of India within the parliament itself, a reflection of the nation's diversity and complexity.
Exactly. Their role is multifaceted. They participate in debates, scrutinize bills, propose amendments, raise questions about government policies, and work within their respective committees to shape legislation.
So they're not just passive observers, but active participants in shaping the laws that govern the nation.
Precisely. They act as a bridge between the people and the government, channeling the voices of their constituents, raising awareness about pressing issues, and holding those in power accountable.
It's a crucial role, demanding integrity, dedication, and a deep commitment to serving the public good. But let's not forget that MPs are not just individuals operating in isolation. They belong to political parties, each with its own ideology, priorities, and internal dynamics.
You've hit a crucial point. Political parties play a significant role in shaping the legislative agenda, influencing the positions taken by their MPs on various issues, and guiding their actions within the parliament.
So it's like a team effort with MPs working within their respective parties to advance their shared goals and agendas.
Exactly. And this interplay between individual MPs and their political parties adds another layer of complexity to the legislative process. There can be internal debates, disagreements, and compromises as MPs navigate their personal convictions, the expectations of their party, and the needs of their constituents.
It's a delicate balancing act, requiring political acumen, strategic thinking, and a deep understanding of the legislative process.
Absolutely. And within this dynamic environment, MPs also engage in coalition building, forging alliances with members from other parties to advance shared interests or to gain a majority needed to pass specific legislation.
So it's a constant process of negotiation, compromise, and strategic maneuvering.
Precisely. The Indian Parliament is a vibrant space where diverse voices converge, ideas clash, and laws are shaped through a complex interplay of individual initiative party politics and the pursuit of collective goals.
It's a testament to the dynamism and resilience of Indian democracy, where the legislative process is a microcosm of the nation's vibrant and ever-evolving political landscape.
Indeed, it's a reminder that lawmaking is not a static or monolithic process, but rather a fluid and dynamic one shaped by a multitude of factors, from individual convictions to party agendas to the broader sociopolitical context.
But amidst this intricate dance of political maneuvering and legislative processes, let's not forget the fundamental purpose of lawmaking: to address the needs of the people, to uphold justice, and to ensure a more just and equitable society.
Well said. Laws are not just abstract concepts or technical documents. They have real-world implications impacting the lives of citizens in profound ways.
So it's about ensuring that the legislative process is grounded in the realities of people's lives, that it's responsive to their needs, and that it serves as a tool for positive social change.
Exactly, and that's where the role of citizens, of we the people, becomes crucial. We have a responsibility to engage with the lawmaking process, to hold our elected representatives accountable, to voice our concerns, and to advocate for laws that reflect our values and aspirations.
So it's not just about casting a vote every 5 years, but about actively participating in the ongoing dialogue of democracy, shaping the laws that govern us, and ensuring that they serve the common good.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that we are not just passive recipients of laws, but active participants in their creation and evolution, and that's what makes democracy such a powerful and enduring force: its ability to harness the collective wisdom and energy of the people to create a more just and equitable world.
That's a powerful and inspiring reminder of the role we all play in shaping the destiny of our nation. But as we move toward the conclusion of this deep dive, let's shift our focus to a crucial element that underpins this entire system: the Constitution of India.
The Constitution. It's the bedrock of Indian democracy, the supreme law of the land. It provides the framework for governance, outlines the fundamental rights and duties of citizens, and establishes the institutions that shape the nation.
So it's like the rule book, a blueprint for the grand game of governance.
That's a great way to put it. The Indian Constitution is a remarkable document, a testament to the vision and wisdom of the nation's founding fathers. It's a complex and comprehensive document that covers a wide range of topics, from the structure of the government to the fundamental rights of citizens.
It sounds like a monumental achievement laying the foundation upon which the entire edifice of Indian democracy rests.
It is one of the key aspects of the Indian Constitution is its emphasis on fundamental rights, those inalienable rights considered essential for individual dignity and freedom.
So these are rights that every citizen is entitled to, regardless of their background or social standing. What are some examples of these fundamental rights?
Excellent question. The Constitution guarantees a wide range of fundamental rights, including the right to equality, the right to freedom of speech and expression, the right to freedom of religion, and the right to life and personal liberty.
These rights protect citizens from arbitrary state action, ensure equality before the law, and guarantee the freedoms that are essential for a democratic society. They're like a shield that protects individuals from the potential excesses of government power.
Exactly. These fundamental rights are not just abstract concepts. They have very real implications in the lives of citizens. They shape the relationship between individuals and the state and ensure that everyone is treated with dignity and respect.
It's a powerful reminder that the Constitution is not just a legal document, but a living, breathing entity that impacts the lives of citizens in profound ways.
Absolutely. And one of the most important features of the Indian Constitution is its commitment to the principle of judicial review.
Wait, remind me, what is judicial review again?
Judicial review means that the courts have the power to review laws enacted by the parliament and to strike down those deemed to be in violation of the Constitution.
So it's like a safety valve, way to ensure that the laws enacted by Parliament don't overstep the boundaries set by the Constitution.
Precisely, judicial review is a cornerstone of Indian democracy. It ensures that the parliament's power is not absolute and that the Constitution remains the supreme law of the land.
It's a fascinating interplay of powers, a system designed to ensure that no one branch of government becomes too powerful and that the rights of citizens are safeguarded.
Exactly. The Indian Constitution, with its emphasis on fundamental rights, judicial review, and a balance of powers, creates a robust framework for a just and equitable society.
But the Constitution is not just a static document. It's a living entity that evolves with society's changing needs and aspirations.
You're right. The Indian Constitution has been amended over 100 times since its adoption in 1950. It's been adapted and refined to meet the challenges of a changing world.
So it's a dynamic document capable of adapting to the changing times while remaining true to its core principles. It's fascinating how a document created decades ago can still be relevant and responsive to the needs of modern India.
It's a testament to the foresight of the Founding Fathers, who created a framework that was both strong and flexible, capable of evolving with the nation's growth and development.
It truly is a remarkable achievement. But before we wrap up this section, I want to touch upon something we discussed earlier, dissent and unpopular laws. It's one thing to have a constitution that guarantees rights and a system of checks and balances, but what happens when laws, despite being legally valid, face opposition from the people they're meant to govern?
That's a crucial question that gets to the heart of what it means to live in a democracy. Dissent. The freedom to disagree is not just a right. It's essential for a healthy democracy. It allows for different perspectives to be heard, for flaws in laws to be exposed, and for adjustments to be made to ensure greater fairness and justice.
So it's not about blindly accepting everything the government does, but about engaging in critical dialogue and holding those in power accountable.
Exactly. Dissent acts as a check on power, a safeguard against tyranny, and a catalyst for positive change. And in India, citizens have a multitude of avenues to express their dissent, from peaceful protests and demonstrations to engaging with the media and lobbying their elected representatives.
So there are many ways for citizens to make their voices heard, to challenge the status quo, and to demand change.
Absolutely. And in cases where citizens believe that a law is unjust or violates their fundamental rights, they have the option of approaching the judiciary, seeking redress through the courts.
So the judiciary acts as a guardian of rights, ensuring that the laws of the land are aligned with the principles of the Constitution.
Exactly. The Indian Constitution guarantees the right to constitutional remedies, empowering citizens to approach the courts if they believe their fundamental rights have been violated.
It's a powerful reminder that we the people have the power to shape our own destiny, to challenge injustice, and to demand a more just and equitable society.
Well said. And throughout India's history, we've seen countless examples of citizens exercising their right to dissent, challenging unjust laws, and demanding accountability from those in power. These acts of courage and conviction have shaped the nation we live in today.
It's inspiring to think about the power of collective action. the unwavering spirit of those who dare to speak truth to power and fight for a better future. But as we move towards the conclusion of our exploration, let's delve into a specific example of an unpopular law in India and the complexities it presented. The Armed Forces Special Powers Act of 1958, often referred to as AFSPA.
AFSPA. It's a law that has sparked intense debate and controversy for decades, particularly in certain regions of the country. It was enacted to address insurgency and separatist movements in certain parts of India, granting special powers to the armed forces operating in those areas.
I can see how such a law, while intended to address security concerns, could also raise concerns about potential human rights violations and the balance of power.
Exactly. AFSPA has been criticized for granting excessive powers to the military, leading to concerns about impunity and a lack of accountability for human rights abuses.
So it's a law that presents a complex dilemma, balancing the need for security with the protection of human rights, a challenge that many democracies grapple with.
Absolutely. The debate surrounding AFSPA highlights the complexities of governance in a diverse and often volatile world. It underscores the importance of constant dialogue review and a willingness to adapt laws to changing circumstances while upholding the principles of justice and accountability.
It's a reminder that the law must always be a tool for peace and justice, not a weapon of oppression or a shield for impunity. We must constantly strive to ensure that the law serves its true purpose to protect the rights of all, to uphold justice, and to create a world where everyone can thrive.
Absolutely. It's a tough balancing act for sure, but it really highlights
The importance of dissent
exactly the freedom to disagree,
and having those open conversations.
especially with laws that can impact fundamental rights. AFSPA has been the subject of so many protests, legal challenges, and calls for reform over the years.
Yeah, it's been a very controversial law.
It has
And it's a good example of how those dissenting voices
played such a crucial role.
in making sure that laws don't become tools of oppression.
Or for silencing dissent.
So it's a good reminder that the conversation around a law,
Doesn't just end.
when it's enacted,
Absolutely. There's a constant need to evaluate its impact and consider different perspectives.
and be open to making adjustments as needed,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Laws aren't set in stone.
right? They should evolve.
As society's understanding of justice and human rights evolves,
And citizen engagement plays such a crucial role in that evolution.
through protests, advocacy, legal challenges,
Open dialogue.
it's an ongoing process.
This has been an incredible journey.
It has.
We've explored the structure of parliament,
The process of lawmaking
the balance of power,
between different branches of government
and the role that citizens play.
in shaping the laws that govern them.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to bring us back to the Constitution of India.
The foundation of it all.
We touched upon it briefly earlier,
Yes.
but I think it deserves a little more attention.
It's a remarkable document.
What makes it so unique and influential?
Well, for one thing, it's incredibly detailed.
Okay.
It's one of the longest written constitutions in the world.
Wow.
It covers everything.
From fundamental rights to the structure of government.
The powers of different institutions.
It's like they wanted to be very thorough.
They did. They wanted to create a robust and adaptable framework,
For a newly independent nation,
facing a lot of challenges,
it's like they wanted to leave no room for ambiguity
to clearly define those principles and values.
that the nation would be built upon.
Exactly. And one of the most important aspects
Yeah.
is its commitment to fundamental rights.
Right. Those rights that every citizen is entitled to,
Regardless of their background.
like a protective shield.
Ensuring that individuals are treated with dignity and respect.
So how does the Constitution protect those rights?
It provides mechanisms like judicial review.
Right, where the courts can strike down laws that violate those rights.
Exactly. It's a system designed to prevent tyranny and protect individual liberty.
And another important feature is its emphasis on social justice.
Absolutely. It recognizes that true equality requires more than just equal rights on paper,
So it addresses those historical injustices and inequalities.
based on caste, religion, gender.
So it's not just about creating a level playing field
It's about actively working to uplift those who have been marginalized.
and ensuring that the benefits of development reach all sections of society,
Exactly. It's a reminder that the pursuit of justice is an ongoing process
and that we must constantly strive.
to create a more equitable and inclusive society
And the Indian Constitution serves as a model,
for democracies around the world,
a beacon of hope
for those who believe in the power of the people,
to shape their own destiny.
and to create a world where everyone can thrive.
That's a beautiful way to wrap up this deep dive.
It has been a fascinating journey.
Exploring the complexities of lawmaking in India
The delicate balance of power
and the crucial role that citizens play.
in shaping their nation.
So to our listeners, We encourage you to stay engaged
Stay informed.
and continue to be active participants in the grand experiment.
That is Indian democracy.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep exploring
And keep questioning.
the world around you.
Because your voice matters.
It does.
And together we can build a better future.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.